And welcome back to Lantern Corps. Today's Lantern Corps video comes to us from Shadows82, who asked the question, what Lantern Corps does the God Emperor of Mankind from Warhammer 40k belong in? And honestly, I really should have, realized I should have asked Mark this. I was over at Mark's last night. Because Mark has a lot more knowledge of the lore of Warhammer 40k than I do. I only have to go by what I can find on here. I don't play the game at all, but he has a lot more knowledge. So I should have asked him his thoughts on this before doing the video. However, that said, looking into the character, I do think I can basically give an idea of what he could be. In essence, to sum it up real quick for anyone who hasn't played, Warhammer 40k is a futuristic game spanning over multiple worlds. There's the God Emperor, who is basically kind of like the ruling body. He is the government, the religion, all that. I use religion in a interesting way because he's actually, one of his goals was to eliminate faith in religion. Because he was an atheist, because he believed that logic and science was the best way to go about it. But among other things, he's an immortal and an immensely powerful psychic. He's capable of condensing things like a supernova into a millimeter-long beam, and all that power is condensed. That's just insane, among other things. So, what kind of Lantern Corps does this guy belong in? Would he even be in a Lantern Corps? Would he be too powerful, like a dark side type figure? Honestly, he might be, but I feel like he'd probably use a lantern ring to meet his ends a bit more. First up, I think Fear is a likely candidate for him. This is a character who is widely known and widely feared for his power and his methodology within his respective universe. There's a reason he kind of sits on top of the throne, if you will. And he is also merciless. He would, if you have any inkling of believing in faith, you may die. There's a good chance you will die. Even joking about it could get you, at very minimum, thrown in jail probably for life. If not, just... So, yeah, he kind of bastard, to be honest. Because he has a rigid flexibility, and he's so old and so powerful that he doesn't trust anyone else's opinion other than his own. So that could lead to a lot of distrust among people. In fact, I believe one of the campaigns is that you actually have to kill him. Because he's so old, he's actually, I believe how he kind of does is reincarnate, and he's stuck, as you see in the picture, in this kind of living death-like state. He's not truly dead, but he's not truly alive. He's kind of stuck somewhere in the middle. And one of the goals of one of the campaigns is to actually fully kill him so he can resurrect, more or less. And I think Fear is a good I think the reason you do that is because of Fear. And maybe because you want him to just resurrect. But I think White is also got to be a very specific candidate to consider. Despite his actions, he is an immortal. And what he does is theoretically for the benefit of all life, because he just believes it's the better way. This is the way, as Mando would say, for life to flourish, is to get rid of religion and faith and all that. Little did he know that, the concepts like the chaos gods will always exist so long as emotion exists. So him getting rid of these entities didn't go over so well, because that was part of his plans, to get rid of these entities. But yeah, well, you've got to consider White in there, as White is the Lantern Corps of life. And if you were immortal, you clearly have life. Albeit his living death-like state does make that a little weird to, deal with. Speaking of which, well, obviously, let's just go over to the Lantern Corps Compassion. Now, I say Lantern Corps Compassion, Indigos, because he actually doesn't have compassion. He cannot relate to other people. Because he's so disconnected because of his age and level of power he has, he just doesn't have this ability. And you either have to have compassion as your dominant trait or basically not have it. And he doesn't have compassion. And as I said, there is the Black Lantern Ring. Now, he is not only in a living death state, meaning he is technically dead, but technically not. He has committed more genocide than any of the other mass murderers in all of the world's history. And that is actually documented in his bio. So he's committed a lot of death. Right out of the gate, though, I think his immortality kind of negates the Death Lantern Ring, despite the fact that he has taken a lot of lives and he is in a partial death state. Likewise, Fear is a good idea, but I feel like the fact that he's immortal just makes him stronger for life, and the fact that he has no compassion Makes him stronger for Indigo. So the question now becomes, is he an immortal White Lantern, or is he a compassionate Indigo who is robbed of all the personality they have? For me, if I'm to go between the two of these, I'm probably going to stick with a White Lantern ring. It would make sense for the level of power he has, and him being immortal and trying to do what he thinks is right for life itself really helps in that. So, even though he's committed a lot of horrific things, I do think that the White Lantern ring would probably be the best option for this character, given all the abilities he can already do, plus what his overall motivation is. So, for my money, I'm going to go the White Lantern Ring of Life. But that is just my opinion. What do you think in the comments below? Let me know if you think different, or if you could qualify for any of the other ones. To go over real quick, I surprisingly don't find him to be a Green Lantern, because even though you need great willpower, you need the predominant trait the Green Lantern rings look for is the ability to overcome great fear. And this guy's probably never really been afraid of anything. Rage, I imagine he's probably got some anger, but nothing that really dominates him. All of us get angry at some point, unless you're like an Indigo Lantern and you're just completely numbed out. There's nothing he really loves, so there's definitely not Star Sapphire. Hope, he actually even doesn't want people to worship him as a god. That's how atheist he is. And hope and faith go hand in hand, so I really don't see Hope being a Lantern Corps for him. Avarice is a very tricky one. I get the impression that if his goal were to ever be met, he'd be satisfied. But it's probably never going to be met because of, the way that the Warhammer 40k universe works. So, but I think he doesn't know that. So I think you could maybe make an argument for greed, but I think he's too strong for the greed to really overtake him, because his powers are psychic based. So I feel like his will would be able to overpower that. I don't know. I mean, I think Avarice might be a consideration as well. And I mean, he's certainly got the willpower for green. He just doesn't have the other requirement, I think. Either way, though, that's my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below if you feel different. And if you do, that's cool. We are all friends here. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you tomorrow for the next part of the Naruto Sister What If. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.